This is you. You just watched your handler get 3 bullets in the chest in a Zurich parking garage, and the price tag on your head just went from theoretical to very, very real. Sounds like a problem, mostly because the man who recruited you, trained you, and promised you extraction protocols if things went sideways is currently bleeding out on European concrete while you're standing 40 feet away with a burner phone and 0 backup. The clock started the second he hit the ground. You've got maybe 8 minutes before whoever sent the shooter realizes you were supposed to be standing right next to him. Here's the thing about being a CIA asset. They sell you the fantasy of being indispensable. 12 years of your life feeding intelligence out of Moscow, Beirut, and 3 capitals you still can't acknowledge out loud. 12 years of playing the long game, building cover identities thicker than your actual biography, becoming so embedded in the world's most dangerous rooms that you stopped flinching at the things people said when they thought no one was listening. You were their golden goose, their irreplaceable human source in places satellites can't penetrate. But golden geese get slaughtered too, especially when they accidentally stumble onto something that wasn't part of the mission parameters. 3 weeks ago, routine dead drop collection in Vienna. Encrypted drive, standard handoff. Except the drive wasn't encrypted with the usual protocol keys. Someone had swapped it. Curiosity is a professional death sentence in this business, and you knew it. You checked anyway. Boom. 14 minutes of audio recordings featuring 2 senior Langley officials coordinating the assassination of a sitting NATO defense minister. Not a foreign target. Not an enemy combatant. A US ally. Scheduled to happen in 11 days, disguised as a terrorist incident. You went to your handler. Your handler went quiet for 48 hours. Then he called you to Zurich for a face-to-face debrief. And now your handler is dead, which means your handler reported up the chain, which means the chain decided the asset who knows too much is a loose thread that needs cutting. Rookie mistake to think loyalty runs both ways in this business. You've been operating on the wrong assumption for 12 years. 8 minutes is gone. You're already moving. The escape protocol they never officially gave you, but you memorized anyway kicks in automatically. No phones on your person except the burner. No credit cards, no biometrics, no patterns. You drop into a pedestrian flow on Bahnhofstrasse without breaking stride. Just another forgettable face in a forgettable coat. Your brain is doing cold triage in real time. Assets you can trust? 0. Safe houses on record. Burned the moment your handler's status changed. Resources off book? 2. A former BND contact who owes you a significant favor. And the drive. Always the drive. Here's your leverage, and it's the only thing keeping you breathing. Those recordings don't just implicate 2 officials. They implicate a network. Names, dates, operational code names, funding channels running through 3 financial institutions with US government contracts. If that audio goes public, careers end. Criminal investigations open. Congressional hearings explode across every news cycle from Washington to Brussels. The people who want you dead don't need you silenced because you're a threat. They need you silenced because you're proof. Your BND contact, Werner, picks up on the second ring because Werner is a professional and professionals answer their phones. You give him the duress code phrase wrapped inside casual small talk. He hears it immediately. Dead silence for 3 seconds. Then he says he'll call back from a different number and hangs up. That's a yes. 20 minutes later, you're in the back of an unremarkable Volkswagen, driven by a man who looks like an accountant and has the hands of someone who has done considerably more than accounting. Werner's guy, no names exchanged. The drive takes 40 minutes to a safe location that smells like old cigarettes and operational competence. Werner is already there, looking at you the way people look at someone carrying live explosives. You lay it out clean. What you have, what it proves, what happens in 11 days if nothing changes. Werner listens without interrupting, which means he's taking it seriously. When you finish, he stares at the wall for a long moment and says that you have created an extraordinarily complicated problem. You tell him you noticed. He asks what you want. You tell him 2 things. You want the assassination stopped, and you want the audio in the hands of someone who will actually use it, not bury it. This is where it gets complicated, because Werner's interests and your interests overlap imperfectly. He wants the intelligence value without the institutional fallout. You want accountability without ending up in a shallow grave outside some unremarkable European city. Neither of you fully trusts the other, which is actually the most honest foundation you've had for any working relationship in the past decade. At least the incentive structures are transparent. The next 72 hours are a masterclass in controlled paranoia. Werner's network moves you twice. You sleep in 4-hour shifts with your back to the wall and something heavy within arm's reach. You encode backup copies of the audio and push them to 3 separate dead drops in 3 countries under 3 different contingency protocols. If you disappear, the recordings surface automatically. Dead man switch, operational and armed. You're not the rabbit anymore. You're the rabbit who built a trap around himself. The kill team finds Werner's first safe house 6 hours after you leave it. Professional, clean, fast. These are not contractors. These are people with the same training you have, which means someone at Langley authorized a full internal sanction. That's not a Tuesday decision. That's a panicked decision. Panicked decisions mean they're not in control of the situation, and that's the first thing that's gone right since Zurich. Werner makes contact with a journalist at a German publication known for not burying stories under political pressure. Not a full handoff, just a conversation. Enough to establish interest, establish credibility, establish the existence of something significant without releasing the actual content. Insurance on the insurance. The network around you is getting wider, which means the cost of making you disappear is climbing by the hour. 11 days, the assassination window. You've got 3 days left, and the recordings are in 6 locations and 3 countries, and Werner has a political contact in Brussels who is making quiet inquiries about a certain NATO minister's security detail. The machinery is moving. Slowly, imperfectly, with significant risk of catastrophic failure at every node, but moving. Your phone buzzes. Unknown number, but the encryption signature matches a protocol that only 2 people alive know. You stare at it for a long moment. The second person who knows that protocol isn't Werner. It isn't your dead handler. The message is 4 words. We need to talk. You look at Werner. Werner looks at the phone. Outside, somewhere in the distance, a car engine idles just a beat too long. You were the asset who knew too much. Turns out, you might not know nearly enough.